Good Friday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and thank you kindly for joining us on Real Talk with Keith Smith. It's a pleasure to connect with you on the last day of the week, the first day in August. Ladies and gentlemen, 2025 has absolutely steamrolled on by, and it's been a good year, but blink and you miss it. We are a few weeks away from the start of school for Central Virginia school-age students and their parents, and often when the kiddos get back to school and learning in classrooms and the parents have a little bit more free time, the real estate market starts to pick up. And I think that's what we're going to see here.
I think you're seeing it already.
Yeah, we're starting to see some movement right now as people are anticipating the kids getting back to school and people wrapping up vacation. There's a lot to cover on the program. The show is presented by Yes Realty Partners. Since 1987, Keith and Yonna Smith, their firm, Yes Realty Partners, have been communicative, they've been honest, they've been focused on doing business with integrity. And it's...
And maybe travel a little bit.
It is absolutely a breath of fresh air to watch Keith and Yonna Smith as they assist and guide clients through one of the most challenging aspects of their life, and that's real estate. I truly, truly mean what I'm saying here. I've seen Keith and Yonna Smith firsthand with my family, with multiple purchases with the Miller family, just do their business in ways that not only I trust, but in ways where I trust them with our children. I sincerely mean that. Judah Wickhauer is another person that embodies those qualities. You know, 15 years of working alongside me ain't easy, and I think Judah does it with grace. I'm grateful that Judah's in a part of our family as well. If you can go to the studio camera and welcome the star of our show, Keith Smith, who I think needs no introduction, folks. He's just an all-around A-plus guy. My friend, we got a hell of an interview lined up for next Friday.
We do. I'm going to let you kick off. I just don't know if I could. I mean, you got me here, brother. It's only.
I sincerely mean it. Everything I meant. Yeah. I mean, we've done 2 purchases with you and Yonna.
Yeah.
I've seen it firsthand. Just how many years have we been here?
7.
7 years of sitting across you.
Yeah.
And then also
we're in our 7th year. Yeah.
2 real estate purchases with you and Yonna. I've seen it firsthand.
Sure.
I trust you with my kids.
Well, we've offered multiple times to brush off our grandparents' skills, but we'll go through this.
My wife and I are a little nervous, not for you and Yonna. we're nervous. I'll take that back. We're nervous.
No, I know exactly why you're nervous.
Our kids are one of a kind. They are 1,000 miles an hour.
Time out.
Maniacs.
Time out. Every parent says that, everything. I think what you should be really nervous about is, I hung out with Uncle Keith and Uncle Yonna, and they did this and we did that, and let's go ahead and do this. How come you're not cool like Uncle Keith and Uncle Yonna? Because that's the feedback you get from grandparents, by the way.
Well, I hope he hangs out with Uncle Keith. I hope they hang out with Uncle Keith and Aunt Yonna. Aunt Yonna, as opposed to Uncle Yonna over there.
Oh, did I screw that up? Did I really?
Yeah. Because I'd have some explaining to do.
That would have some
Lucy,
explaining.
I make some explaining to do.
Lucy, you got some explaining to do. Well, it's Smith. You never know how I jumble words and come up on there, but people know what I'm saying. Look, I just, we take just to kick this off here before you do the big announcement. I track this week over week, and I really kind of look at every Friday. We are sitting right now, 7 days go back, all the 6 jurisdictions. 64 new homes came on the market, 84 went pending. Remember a few?
Oh, yeah.
That was like the thing. So you're starting, and I don't know if this is a one-off, and we'll see what next week is going to be like, but you're starting to see that switch a little bit, and who knows, maybe it's the fall market starting on August 1 or the last week of July, but I'll let you do what you do best and do the intro for next Friday, because we were able to put together a little bit of a rock star kind of thing.
We have a fantastic show for a week from today on Real Talk with Keith Smith. And Vanessa Parkhill and Bob Yarborough and Richard Fox and Georgia Gilmer and Barbara Bosek and Donna Price and Michael Pruitt and Michael Guthrie and Sarah Buchensky, Kevin Yancey, and all the fine folks that are watching this fair talk show, like Eric Thompson. Ladies and gentlemen, mark your calendar for next Friday at 10:15 a.m. Fred Missel, he's a Democrat running for the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors in the Samuel Miller District. He will be in the studio live on Real Talk with Keith Smith. Scott Smith, he's a Republican. He's running for Albemarle County Board of Supervisors in the same Samuel Miller District. Competition, a contested election. Next Friday on Real Talk with Keith Smith, Scott Smith and Fred Missel in the studio for an hour, taking our questions, taking your questions, long form content like no one's putting out there except for this network. And I think it's going to be extremely newsworthy. Contested elections are good for Albemarle County.
Yeah. It's a good
This is
period.
the only contested election in Albemarle County.
It is, yeah.
The only contested election in Charlottesville. I mean, Charlottesville doesn't have any contested elections right now outside the Democratic primary.
Yes.
I mean, which jurisdictions have contested elections? You know this.
Nelson County does.
Nelson County.
Nelson County does. Fulvana doesn't. Nelson does. Nelson, I'm trying to put together a similar thing, but it's kind of interesting. There's quite a few people that are running for seats. I don't have the exact list on off the top of my head on that. And I believe and if Neil is watching, I believe there's a contested election in Greene County, but I may be wrong. I believe there's at least one in Greene County. But we're starting with probably the largest one, which is Fred and Scott, and we're going to do what we do best, right? We're going to keep it conversational over a cup of coffee. There's no gotcha questions, but this is going to be honest, straightforward conversation about, at the end of the day, there's really local government kind of does two big things, right? One is land use and the other is the budget and taxation, right? That's kind of tied together. So that's really the lion's share of the work that they do. It doesn't mean that there isn't other work, but that's usually the lion's share of it. So obviously this being a real estate show, we're going to kind of focus around real estate. Go figure on that.
I'll highlight Michael Guthrie watching the program who got a kick out of the Uncle Yonna comment right there.
Well, he would know better than most the words that come out of Smith's mouth. And usually it's Yonna, we have Yonna-isms, right? And Yonna does that, but go ahead.
He tags Jay Dominic in the feed and says pre-quals are up a bit as well, according to Jay Dominic.
Yeah. Well,
Michael Guthrie stopped by the studio a couple days ago, dropped off some samples of fuzzy coffee, which we have in the studio. Can we crack them open right now for Michael Guthrie and drink them? His son, J.M. Guthrie, has launched a beverage business.
Cool.
Fizzy and functional ice-cold bevs that fit seamlessly in your rotation. Fuzzy coffee, sparkling coffee for people who like their caffeine with a side of jolt, a side of pop, involved for brain functionality. So J.M.
so
Guthrie...
what is he trying to say is maybe Smith needs some of that to fix his brain a little
J.M.
bit.
Guthrie exited a business that he owned and is launching a new business brand that I'm very excited to try. Oh, we got one over there.
Cool.
For Keith. I would love to crack. Can I crack and drink? I'll drink this. Are you going to have some? You should have some, right, Judah?
Sparkling coffee, wicked. Well, I think we're going to do that.
Sparkling coffee, fuzzy coffee, a new brand from the Guthrie clan and J.M. Guthrie. I'm going to crack it on air.
So they're producing it in Arlington. That is cool.
Yeah, that's where his son is located, Northern
So
Virginia.
those are not watching, but are listening.
It's very good.
This is a fuzzy coffee, not a cold brew.
That is very good. Judah's drinking it on a 3-shot. Judah, can you hop on a 3-shot?
Cheers, everybody.
So we can all do it. I think this could be part of the ad campaign. It is very good, Guthrie.
Look at the can.
The packaging is fantastic.
Wow.
The logoing is fantastic. Judah, you on a 3, hold that can up. I enjoy this. I like this.
Oh, wow. And it's sugar-free. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Sparkling coffee, very novel concept. Best served ice cold. It's good, right?
Oh, wow. That is awesome. So,
Thank you, Michael.
yeah, look at that. 15 calories. That's a good sign.
Yeah. JM, I think you're onto something here.
Zero saturated fat, zero trans fat, zero cholesterol, zero sodium. Carbohydrates is 1%, which is super low. Zero sugars.
It's excellent.
Yeah,
It's
I
excellent.
love it.
It's got a great finish. James Watson, hello, welcome to the broadcast.
I wonder how you add a little alcohol in this.
I'm sure you can. You can add alcohol to anything. I will highlight that it's 10:31 in the morning. Not that it's ever stopped. Not that it's ever stopped the Real Talk plan over here. Folks, we got print, radio, and television watching the I Love CVille Network
That
right
is
now.
really
This is
good.
very good. This is
Well
very
done,
good.
Michael.
His son. We want to highlight his son.
Mike, I'm sure is part of it in some way.
Vanessa
shape, or form.
Parkhill is asking, are there artificial sweeteners in this?
No.
I'll leave that. No, does it say
no?
no?
No, I'm
You're reading it?
You know, so what happens when you reach a certain age, the first thing you do is you roll the product around to the nutrition facts. Just saying, that's what happens. It's got 0 added sugars.
This is damn good.
Yeah, I love it.
I genuinely, sincerely mean this.
We might have to get get them as a sponsor.
Yeah, partner of the program over there, partner of the network, absolutely. So a week from today, Fred Missel and Scott
really good.
Smith. Judah, you like it? Do you have a take for the viewers and listeners? Are you on a 3-shot over there, Wickhauer?
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's good. I've got one that's a tad sweet.
Okay.
Oh,
So mine has 45 calories.
so what's the so?
He's got a different flavor.
Oh, I'm on New Classic.
I really like New Classic too. New Classic, I drink
Yeah.
this. I would sincerely drink this.
I figured you guys didn't want the sweetened one.
I love it
Want the
I
what?
figured that you guys wouldn't want the sweetened one.
Why'd you figure that, by the way?
because we're sweet enough as it
Is that what it is? That we're sweet enough
100%
as
what
is?
it is.
So that's exactly
Hello.
what it is.
Okay, thank you, Judah.
Yeah, Wanna Fuzzy, inspired by Mama Ann. Looks like.
I think it's inspired by his grandmother.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So I wonder, did his grandmother kind of like make this in the kitchen kind of
Yeah,
thing?
that's what it was. Yeah, it's inspired by his grandma.
Not quite.
What?
Okay.
You know, well,
Share-
Michael told
share
us
the
a story.
with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, he said that when they were younger, she used to call she used to call sparkling water fuzzy. And so this is his tribute to her.
So my grandkids call spicy water.
Spicy sparkling water, spicy water?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is really good.
That's very good.
We're gonna
I'm
have
gonna literally
we're
finish
gonna have a
this.
slight problem here in about 5 minutes. Or
What,
10
you're going to
minutes.
have to hit the head? Is
Well,
that what-
that and between the latte I just finished and the caffeine.
Yeah, you're
in
double.
it-
I'm actually double fisting here. I got 40 ounces of coffee in my Yeti and a fuzzy. I'll drink them both.
So do you know?
Get ready.
A little factoid. And you probably know this.
What's that?
That's drip coffee, right? In your-
This?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
That actually has more caffeine in it than espresso does.
A drip coffee does.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Google fact check that, but drip coffee has more caffeine in it than espresso. So
next Friday at 10:15.
10:15.
Missile and Smith.
Please. So we're gonna do some. I'm gonna do some drip outs during the week. Try to get some folks to tune in. We're gonna do our normal style. We're gonna have a couple of few questions and then see what the feed has to jump in. Everybody knows the rules of Real Talk. We keep everything fair and no gotcha questions. But honest, straightforward questions and honest, straightforward discussion about what is really matters to our folks in the Samuel Miller district, right? Plus the region as a whole in Albemarle County. So,
And it's very important. I mean, Charlottesville, the election is not just tied to Albemarle County. It's tied to Charlottesville. The Samuel Miller district is basically Charlottesville City in a lot of ways. I mean, the Samuel Miller district is 5th Street extended,
Yeah.
Avon extended. I mean, the Samuel Miller district
plus it's
is...
got a lot of rural in it.
It's a
too.
vast district. It's a vast district. Lonnie Murray, very curious your thoughts on this. Granted, Lonnie may
Well-
not comment on this. Michael Pruitt. We should get Pruitt on the show.
Yep.
Make it a run for Congress, Michael Pruitt.
Yeah. We've not had a show conversation, but he and I have been chatting a little commission, planning district commission stuff. So where do you want to go next? You want to talk a little
I
bit?
think we should talk data. I mean, it seems like the market is moving a bit right now.
It is. It's interesting. So
Because it was stalled over the summer, Smith.
it was stalled over the summer. It was really stalled in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I think the summer it started picking back up, and you can see it's starting to pick back up here. When you've got 84 pendings and 64 new listings coming on, that's a pretty decent ratio. That's kind of going back to what we've seen before. At one point, in the beginning of the summer and the tail end of the first quarter, we were looking at news in the hundreds, in the 110 and the 115 new listings a week, and the pendings were the opposite, right? They were 20, 30, 40 units less a week. So you're starting to see that flip a little bit, and I think we've been talking about that for a while. I think we're kind of swinging back into the normal fall market, but as everybody who watches the show knows, I like to try to get out as soon as the month ends. So
You're the first to do it in the market, the data.
I ran.
Do we have slides to put on screen?
We do, but I just want to talk a little bit of high level stuff because I do want to get into the importance of pricing a home right and we've got the data now to show why it's important. But overall, in the car footprint, right, all kind of types, resales, new construction, January 1 until last night, or early this morning when I did all this work, we're about 2% down in sales volume. So same period in 2024, we had 1943 sold. In 2025, we have 1904. So I have to tell you, that number is a lot closer than I expected it to be. When I was running the numbers this morning, and that's why I'm a little bit on extra caffeine here, because I've been doing this since about 3 this morning.
Wow.
I expected that number to be greater than that. So we've picked up quite a bit at the tail end of the summer and July in it. And the median sales price has jumped up about 2.6%. Again, this is the full car footprint. This is all product types, attached, detached, to include new construction. It's a huge, huge look at everything. So anyway, 2024 we had 480 was the median sales price. 2025 493. So we're up about 2.6%.
That's pretty good.
The being up number, we've been talking about this for a long time. I think when this year shakes out, we're going to be somewhere between the 3 to 6% range year over year, as far as appreciation goes.
Median value uptick.
Yeah, and which is kind of normal,
Yeah,
right?
that's normal.
Kind of where it should be.
The challenge for the first-time home buyers and buyers in general is
The price.
from the COVID period, it escalated so quickly. So while we're back to a standard appreciation of 3 to 6% year over year,
The number jumped.
we had a 4 or 5 year gap where that number was double digits every year compounded.
And if I were smarter this morning, which I didn't do it, I would have compared it to 2019, right? And just to see what the jump
What
is.
the escalation and median value? I bet that would be 40, 45%.
Yeah, and we could probably do that quickly as we're chatting. But I want to break down the counties real quickly.
Please.
So,
And if there's any data you want them to put on screen, we can.
we will when I get the pricing right. That's
Okay.
the only slides that I did. Didn't have time to do each jurisdiction slide. But you can look at my Facebook page or Jerry's or I Love Charlottesville's sites where we have this on. So Albemarle County, let's do just kind of full focus on percentages. The total sales volume went down about 4.2%. Prices went up about 3.6%. So we went down in volume in Albemarle, went up in price roughly around 4%. I got new construction. Charlottesville went down 4%, 4.5%, went up in price about 4%. The volume was extremely anemic in Charlottesville. Fluvanna, again, in green is going to be the rock stars here. The volume went up 13.4%, so it went from 2024 at 216, 2025 at 245, so it's up 13%, but the price went up almost 8%, 7.5 and change percent on that. Green has been the rock star. We've been talking about this for a while. Jumped up 11% year over year. Price went up 7.33%. Louisa, and we'll talk Nelson County, Louisa actually went down 13% in sales. So Fluvanna went up, Green went up in sales. So these are the two rock stars in volumes. They also went up in valuation on that. 7% roughly for both counties equals 7.5, 7.3%. Louisa went down 13% but went up 4%. Nelson County's volume went up 10%, 9.6 some odd percent, but the price went down 7.6%. Right, so that's just kind of a little oversight or snapshot of where the market is overall. Big footprint. We went down a little bit, we went up a little bit, but each jurisdiction, we talk about this all the time, about location matters, micro-location matters.
I saw a comment that was on your Facebook page from Carly Wagner that you agreed with a like to her comment, that if you're not having movement within 2 weeks of listing, something's wrong.
Yeah, so if I had the time, I'd show it, but the spreadsheet, which I kind of pull all this stuff together on, is huge from pulling off of CAR. So what I wanted to look at is, okay, homes that were on the market that had no price reductions, how did they perform? Versus homes that had price reductions, how did they perform? And it's kind of important. We've been talking about this for quite some time. That's why hiring the trusted advisor, getting the right team to help you, and the right team that's honest and direct, and as Michael Guthrie would say, do I have the permission to be honest with you, matters, right, on that end of it. But the reality of it is if you do not price the home right going in, you're going to lose money. And the data is going to prove that. So, Judah, I'm just going to walk you through some slides here if you're good to go. So let's just take a look at Albemarle County. So that's slide number 1. So I titled it Price is Right, Albemarle County. So no price, thank you, sir, no price reduction. So that means these were homes that went in at the right price, right? Average days on market was a little over 12.5 days. The average sold versus list, because that's what I wanted to look at. Okay, how did this work out? Sold for roughly 2.8%, so roughly 3%. So here's the deal. If you listen to your real estate agent, right, you put it on at the right market, on average, you're going to make 3% more than that. And that data's been kind of crunching for a while. But what happens if you don't?
Yeah. Listen to this, folks.
So
he's doing a great job here, Yonna Smith.
So, thanks. Appreciate it. And he's on caffeine.
He's doing a great double fisting caffeine.
Well, that's double fisting now. The other stuff I was double fisting before that. So anyway, people that went in the market too high in Albemarle County, right, that reduced their prices. So we can look at that, how that performs on the data. The average days on market were 55, and they sold 4.2% below list. So that's telling me that if you do the math difference between it, let's just call it a 1% difference, just for sake of argument. You're sitting on the market way too long, right? You're losing 4.2%. But if you listen to your agent in Albemarle County and you do your homework and you get it on the market right, you're walking away with roughly 3% over the list. And there wasn't a single, and we'll go through each one, there wasn't a single jurisdiction, county or city, that did not go backwards. In other words, if you priced it right, you either got your list price or more. If you didn't price it right and you reduced it, you lost money.
Yeah. You hear that, folks?
City of Charlottesville, number 2.
That speaks volumes right there.
Well, I wanted to...
Out of the gate is paramount in this
100%.
market, especially in this market. Carly called it, if you misprice and you're over 2 weeks, potential buyers are almost looking at your house like a silent auction. I love that comparison.
Yeah, they just move on.
And because, ladies and gentlemen, today's market with Zillow and with the Realtor app, I'm on the Realtor app every day. With Realtor app and with Zillow, you can see the pricing cuts and the history of the house and what's happened. That's not something that can be smoke and mirrored or disguised.
So we've been talking about this for a while. Like, the buyers are typically way ahead of the sellers. The buyers are a little bit, I don't want to say the word smarter, but let's say they're more dialed in.
More in tune with the market.
They're more dialed into the market. But if we just march through this real quick, because each jurisdiction's a little different. The city of Charlottesville, right? That's number 2, my friend. Priced it right, sold in 9 days, sold for 4.2%. So if you went in at the right price and you didn't low it, you sold your home in 9 days for little over 4%. Here's a big delta. If you didn't, you had the price reduce it, you're on the market for 40 days and you sold it for over 5% below what your list price was. So again, get the right price, get a little bit more, get it moved. There's all kinds of other factors. We're just looking at this one narrow, right? Is it on the right street? Does it have the right features, the right condition? I'm just looking at what sold and what went list versus sold, and how does that data pull together? My home county.
Roger Voisinay, say hi to Roger.
Hey, Roger, how's it going, brother?
Love you, Roger.
We need a cup of coffee. We need to get you to come on. You need to have a fuzzy coffee.
I'm almost done with it, Michael.
Yeah.
Please tell your son this. I genuinely am almost done
love
with this.
it.
I like it.
But I got to tailor my caffeine.
I
jolt here a
genuinely
little bit.
like this.
I just might be having a little bit too much caffeine.
Holly Foster and Henrico, welcome to the broadcast.
Hey, Holly, how you doing?
Love Aaron Moody when he watches the program. Juan Sarmiento, Tom Powell, Ty Cooper, just to name a few. Logan Wells Calelo. Brokers, ladies and gentlemen, from a handful of different firms watching the program. Jason Howard on Rio Road. Got print, radio, and television. Got elected officials watching.
Fluvanna County.
Go for it.
Number 3. No price reductions. Sold in about 31 days, 32 days. These are averages. And sold for a little over list, 1.2%. So what that's telling me is that for the most part, the agents and the sellers in Fluvanna County are pretty much putting their homes on the market at what the market rate should have went up. But if they didn't, they went up to 40, a little over 40 days, and they sold it for 4.1% below the original list price. Our friends in green, slide number 4. You priced it right, no price reduction, sold in 29 days for a little over 2% above list. If you reduced it, that number jumped to 50 days on the market, and you sold it for 4% less than list. Number 5, our dear friends in Louisa County. A little tighter, no price reductions, had 45 days on the market, sold for a little over list by 1.4%. If you reduce the price, that 45 days jumped to 68 days, and you sold it for 4.6%. And then lastly, our friends in Nelson County, good friend Jesse Rutherford.
Love you, Jesse. He was on the program a few weeks ago.
No, slide number 6, Judah. No price reductions, 26 days on the market, sold for 2.7% over list. Reduced the price, in other words, you didn't enter the market correctly. It was on the market for a little over 69 days, but sold for nearly 6% under list. So not a single jurisdiction that if you hit the market right, at the right price, didn't sell on average for over list.
I'd like to ask you this question. How do you characterize this market?
Characterized. Are we doing like cartoons characters? Or?
Do you say it's a balanced market?
Yeah.
Do you say still a seller's market? Where's the pendulum leading toward?
Yeah, in my opinion, towards buyers. Right.
The pendulum is leading towards buyers.
So if we're going to do some, what is that word? Prognosticating?
Yeah. Yes. Let's call it some crystal balling.
Some crystal balling. I think, hold on a second, didn't shut off my phone. Might get myself into a little trouble. You know that I've been critical on folks like Yoon and all these PhDs that have been saying, over the last couple of years, we're all of a sudden going to be at 5% 30-year mortgage rate.
They've been terribly wrong.
I actually think we're closer to that. I think 2026, you're going to start. I think, I'm saying this.
Fed didn't cut a couple days ago.
Yeah, but I think they will. I just think you're going to start seeing that 7 creep down to 5, and I really think you're going to start seeing this buyer-seller relationship. It's already doing it. Swing over that way. All that said, Jerry, this is purely location, micro-location, and you've got to hit and I say this till I'm blue in the face, you got to hit these 6 rights right, and if you don't, and it starts with this, right? Location is number 1, right? You can't do anything about location, right? Your house is where your house is.
What are the 3 locations that are the top? And then 3 locations that are the soft.
Yeah, it's really hard because when I was looking at the data this morning, and I actually was looking at what the number 1 subdivision or the number 1, looking at actual subdivisions.
Yeah.
The number 1 is none, right? So there are more homes sold in none, which is how they define it in the MLS, right? Instead of, let's say, Lake Monticello or whatever, right? The Fluvanna County is a little different. Lake Monticello is usually the lion's share. share of that, but there really isn't any one huge location. It depends on what you're trying to buy, right? So if you're, trying to buy a certain type of Western Albemarle property in a certain school system, then, it could be that. But what I really wanted to highlight, you can't, if you're in the market to sell, you can't do much about your location. But you sure as heck can do something. Well, you may not be able, but you can sure as heck try to do something about pricing. And we now know, because we've done the data, right? If you price it right, you're going to sell it, and you're going to sell it for a little bit more over list. The other two factors, features and locations, actually impact your price, right? You just can't just look at price only, because today's buyer isn't buying something, if it's in the right price in the right location, but the features aren't there, right? Roughly 60% of all the sales have primaries on the first level, right? Around 50-something, 52%, because I was kind of calculating these numbers this morning, have garages on them, right? And when you start checking those boxes as far as features go, and the house is in good condition, new roof, new HVAC.
It'll move.
It'll move in under 14 days. If it doesn't, it won't. And you can start lowering that price down, and that's what you will have to do. But it should be priced right in the first place, right? All these things have to be taken into consideration, because today's buyer, by and large, you never group everybody up into a huge, I got everybody calling me today, group into everybody into one group, right? But that said, if you don't have these four things all put together, hold on a second, I'm going to shut my phone off. I'm going to let you talk for a second.
If you don't have all these things put together, that house it's going to be
It'll
be tough sledding.
Yeah, and that's the market, and so the way I look at it, if you're in the right location, right price, right features, right condition, you are in a seller's market, right? If you don't, then you need to be, and you can't for whatever reason, right? You can't change the location. The price has to be what the price is because of certain circumstances, like how much you owe on the home, yada, 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 that kind of thing. And you can't do anything about features and conditions. You are not in a seller's market. You are in a buyer's market, and that mindset needs to be there when you get ready to put your home on the market.
So let me ask you this question. Should the rates, and you're starting to offer commentary that you'll see them maybe with a 5 handle this, early next year.
I think you're.
What happens then?
That's a great question. I don't think it changes the dynamics of the first 4 rights. I really don't.
Do more buyers jump in the mix? Does more inventory come in the mix?
Well, we know there's more buyers because we're looking at it right now this week, right? It was
because a 1-point drop in interest rates is substantial.
It is substantial. But I think it's also, look, we're in kind of new territory. So what we're doing is we're spitballing. We're just having a 100%. Conversation, right? Right. There is nothing to look back and say, okay, it was done this way, because this whole market, and I've said this, I've kind of, was it 6 months ago, started saying, hey guys, this is a new buyer's market that my grandfather and your parents have never seen, right? It's a very different dynamic. Usually there's these huge swings, right? It's very much so everything's a buyer's market or everything's a seller's market. We're not. We're in this point, which I actually like personally, because back to this is when the pros show up.
Yeah.
Right? You need to look at each individual house, each individual property, what that seller is trying to achieve, where they're at, and have the tough conversations. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, how much you owe on your mortgage, right? You've got to have these conversations so you can be the best advocate for your seller. Conversely, you got to have the same conversation with your buyers, right? So what kind of capital you have, what kind of down payment you have, where, all these different conversations you need to have with them. But, at the end of the day, this is a by unit market. It is not it's not like in the unicorn years, as, what does Yonna used to say? A turkey?
Turkeys fly in the wind.
A turkey could fly in the wind.
Comments coming in. Lloyd Snook, hello. Travis
Hey,
Hackworth in Danville, hello. Thank you for watching the program. Viewers and listeners, like and share the show. Matt Neese, hello. Kevin would like you to crystal ball his
Hey,
side
Kevin.
of the mountain.
Be safe out there, brother.
Waynesboro and Augusta.
Yeah,
How do you characterize the Waynesboro-Augusta market? I know that's not your cup of tea.
it's not my cup of tea. We do quite a bit of business over there. I just didn't dig into the data this morning, and I really wouldn't want to
Shoot off the hip.
shoot off the hip on that. That said, my suspicion is it'll be performing very similar. I think you're going to see certain jurisdictions do very well, certain not. I think the thing about the other side of the mountain that you really need to take a dive into is the impact of new construction, right? There's quite a bit of new construction going on there, and as a general rule, if you're in a subdivision that has, let's say, 50% existing homes and 50% of new homes getting built, the 50% of existing homes are at a disadvantage when it comes to
course.
selling, right?
Yeah.
And it depends on the size of the subdivision, right? When you take a look at something like Creekside out in Greene County, that project's going to be a project 5 to 10 years, right? When you take a look at Colonial Circle in Fulvana County, that'll be built out by the end of this year, right? So it's a whole different dynamic on it. But I will, Kevin, I will go ahead and do it. I literally, after midnight, which ended the numbers for July, and I knew we had a show this morning, I woke up pretty early to crunch numbers so we can get out there. But I'll take a look at it, and Kevin, be safe on the road, brother.
The Shenandoah Valley's one of the Shenandoah Valley's finest backstops, Michael Plecker, who played in the New York Mets farm system and is a talented team member of Yes Realty Partners, says, "Did I hear Waynesboro and Augusta County brought up?"
Yeah. Well, he would know better than anybody. We should ask him.
Michael Plecker, the king of, is it Fontana? Where he lives? Fontana?
I think he's the king of the world, bro.
King of Pantops? How
He's
about
the king
that,
of
Mike
everything.
Plecker?
He's the king.
Well, Monica, you're the king of Pantops.
He's king of everything.
The Prince of Pantops. How's that, Michael Plecker? One of the Shenandoah Valley's finest backstops. Vanessa Parkhill agrees, just price it out of the gate the right way from the start.
And it's such, the one of these days, I think we're going to do a show where we're going to bring in a couple of real estate agents and do a kitchen table conversation.
That'd be a great show.
Right, where you and I play a wonderful couple, and we're trying to sell.
There we go. Okay.
We're trying to sell.
We'll play devil's advocate. I'll be the item, the couple, the member of the couple that wants to come out of the gates at the highest price possible.
and I'll be the reasonable one. It's kind of like a everyday show for us.
Oh, there we go.
Dun-dun-dun. But yeah, I think that would be a great thing. So how they actually navigate that kitchen table conversation, and our chemistry is such that we'll bounce off of each other.
That'll be great.
But this is the hard kitchen table conversations, and look, I'll be honest. I'll look at it here, but I would think a huge percentage of the real estate agents in the car footprint have maybe 1 sale, 0 sales, 2 sales so far, right? And the pool of agents that are doing a larger portion of that is getting a little bit shallower on it.
Tough profession.
Yeah, well, the thing that happens here is sometimes people might get a little bit of accept something, even though they know it's not right, just to get a listing, right, or just to do something. And I understand that, and trust me.
I do not understand that.
Well, I understand.
I do not understand that.
I understand that because I've been in the business long enough to understand that.
You just put yourself in a position to fail and spend money while failing.
Correct.
And spend time while failing.
Yeah.
I don't understand the mindset of a hope and a dream with a listing, taking it at a price point that's
So again, to tag Michael, right?
rather disappoint you now than disappoint you later.
100%. And also, as an agent, right, 0 is still 0. right? If you don't sell it, zero still
But
sells.
an agent that's doing
It's
no
actually
business is ahead of the agent that's taking listings that don't sell and does no business. Because the agent that's taking
But we need to
listings
be-
that don't sell
So let's go back to this.
is burning money on photography, marketing,
100%.
time, effort.
100%. I'm going to take a sip of this so I can think a little straighter. This does something to your brain,
I
right?
do not understand the, and Michael Plecker says, I'm all in for that sales role play. Please include me in that,
There you
on
go.
that show.
There you go.
The Prince of Pantops.
There you go. That actually be a good conversation.
Yonna's Mayor Pantop. She likes that.
There you go. So back to the beginning conversation we had about empathy and all this kind of great stuff. Look, we have to be somewhat empathetic to these agents out there, right? That are struggling and trying to stay in the game. I was wrong actually. I admittedly missed this one big time. I thought that we would have seen more exit of agents than we have now.
We saw some.
I think you're going to see more, right? I think you're going to start
I
seeing.
mean, at this point, it's been 24 months of no business for a lot of people.
Yeah. It's going to be.
I mean, you're approaching 30 months of no business for people.
I would have to take a look at it, but there's a certain percentage, I'm sure. But now, it all depends on where they're at in their life, right? They may not need to do it, right? They have a significant other or whatever. But there's going to come a saturation point where they're paying fees and they're paying so forth and so on.
Especially with the age of the agents in car.
I think it's 57.
No spring chickens.
I think it's 50. I saw a meme the other day on this real estate humor Facebook page that there should be a thing that if you're over 55, you have to hand your license in, which is rather offensive to a guy who's
That is offensive. That's ageist and offensive.
I think that's rather offensive. Yeah. My reply to us is, "What's so effing funny about this?" So, it's supposed to be a thing about real estate humor. But look, we need to be sympathetic and understanding and help coach people that really want to be in the game. There's ways to win. There's ways to help your client. I had a conversation the other day, as everybody knows who watches the show, in the time of great unpleasantness, we lost 17 million. We lost everything, right? And through the grace of God, and a lot of hard work and good friends and transparency and honesty, we are doing
You guys are crushing it.
as well, if not better, prior to 2017.
Yeah, you guys are crushing it.
And I got asked the question, how did you do that? Because you're starting to talk to agents now that are in that world, right? You're starting to see this, right? You're starting to see, well, I'm having trouble making my car payment. I'm having trouble making my mortgage, whatever it is. You're starting, there's some of that out there. And my answer always is, I know this is hard, right? But be honest, be transparent, and be a professional, right? And, if it's a $100,000 deal or a $100 million deal, you put the same amount of transparency, the same amount of effort into it. It's hard on the pocketbook, right? It's hard, right? It's really hard. You've got to be wired to work for nothing for a very long period of time with hopes of trying to get some payday at the end of the day. But if you walk in there in a servant, in my opinion, in a servant attitude where I'm here to serve my client, it'll come around. It will come around, but taking listings just for the sake of taking listings is just a recipe for failure.
I'll throw this question to you. Think about it. I'm going to get to Angie Micklem Shoup's comment. She's an agent with EXP.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to get to her comment in a matter of moments first, but I'm going to give you a heads up to think
I'm
about it.
just shaking with all this.
A heads up to think about it. An agent getting into the game right now, a new agent getting into the game right now.
Yeah.
Is this as hard a time to get into this business as you can remember since when? Think about that answer.
I'm going to answer it differently than that, but go ahead.
Angie says this, EXP. You know Angie?
Yeah, I do, very much
She
so.
says,
She's a rock star.
Totally agree with what you said, Jerry. I've lost at least 4 listings this year because I will not overprice a listing.
So I know Angie well. She's a pro. She's actually a Buffini-trained agent that Yonna, if I'm not mistaken, helped train her up many years ago. And she walks in with confidence, and she knows her numbers, and she knows where she's at. And then she has the conversation. Well, I know we can do it this way. I know we can perform. this way. But then you have the question of go, okay, so why do you want this number, right? Well, my next door neighbor did this 12 months ago. Okay, well, you can talk about that market. But if it turns around, you have an honest kitchen table conversation, goes, you know, I did a HELOC, I did this and the other thing, and I just owe this much on it, and this is what I need to get out of it. When you have that honest kitchen table conversation like that, then we can figure out ways to help, right? But if it's the other end of it, the scale, this is, look, this is what the market is, this is what I know we can do, this is what I know you need to fix, and then, you know, and good for Angie, you just walk away.
I'll also
You wish them luck, by the way.
offer this. The agents that are taking overpriced listings with a
It's the
hope
overall market, by the way.
with a hope and a dream that they sell. The agents that are taking overpriced listings with a hope and a dream that will sell are not only doing a disservice to your personal brand, not only doing a disservice to your personal business, not only burning capital, but you're doing disservice to the profession as a whole.
100%.
You're creating a perception of disingenuous. It damages the profession in totality.
Pending just went up one as you were talking.
This mindset needs to shift, and the disappoint you now, then disappoint you later conversation. Use that line at the kitchen table because the houses just are not moving, and the price cuts left and right are hurting the market.
Here's the empathetic side of it. But if you're hurting and you're trying to make a mortgage payment, trust me, I know what it's like.
I get what you're saying, but you're losing money doing it.
100%.
It's working against your mortgage payment.
100%. But there
Go get the part-time job.
You're not getting an argument from me on that. I'm just saying, as one who went from here to zero and couldn't pay your mortgage payment, and I drove a 2000 Saturn station wagon from 2007 to 2017 that had no AC in it. And I was taking people out trying and selling houses. I literally had no AC in it. But I knew I needed to do what I needed to do and take care of the client one thing at a time. And I have a bit of a gift of the gab and turned it into a positive instead of a negative.
How'd you turn that into a positive?
I was honest and transparent and said, look, this is what, but this doesn't mean, and we're going to talk about this on Friday, next Friday. This doesn't mean because I've lost everything I had, I'm not good at what the F I do, right? I didn't cause the housing recession, right? I didn't take money and go out and buy Lear jets or yachts or whatever it was. I got sucked up in something that I had no control over. I'm okay with that. I can shave, look in the mirror. Hell, when 2009, I was in the middle of it. I ran for elected office. I think I've told you the story before. And I had my opponent going, well, hey, you're in the middle of losing everything and filing personal bankruptcy and all this horrible stuff that comes with that. And you're running for office. And I said, I didn't know there was a rule. I'm also a Marine, which makes me not too smart. So I just keep on going forward. But I do want to answer your question about, is this now the right time to get into
give us
it?
that answer. So Michael Plecker says, it's very hard to admit to yourself and others that your chosen profession is not working out. I love to see every agent in our association be successful, but times in the industry have changed. It's getting more difficult for some to weather the storm. Jason Howard on Rio Road, the king of Rio Road, says at 55, the average realtor is a spring chicken compared to a good portion of our nation's Congress. Jamie Turner, the mayor of Gordonsville, y'all should get Rajan Cheetah on the show. Turned down his cushy offer from a big bank in Austin, Texas, to take on the development of short-term rentals. UVA grad, super interesting to follow his journey. I am following him on Instagram. It is pretty fascinating what he's doing with that luxury Airbnb that he's building with his partner, who I believe is a Virginia Tech graduate, a 22-year-old that got a construction loan and is building currently one of 4 short-term rentals. I am following that, Jamie Turner. His story is very inspiring. I'm going to ask Keith Smith straight up this question. If you're a realtor, a new realtor, looking to get into this game we call real estate sales, is this as challenging a time as you can remember? I mean, compare and contrast this to the time of great unpleasantness, the housing recession.
Yeah,
Is it at all similar to that?
from a real estate agent's perspective.
Yeah, from a real estate agent's perspective.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at the stats right. I'm going to answer the question a bit differently, but I'm just looking at the stats right now, car agents on that. So I just put, we've got 1,400 agents on there, but a lot of them, just are like Woody Fincham, who's part of this, but he doesn't sell, right?
I'll say this, and you go ahead. The real estate agent, the realtor profession, is the second most competitive profession in Central Virginia. The first most competitive profession in Central Virginia is trying to be a restaurant owner or a restaurateur. Following restaurant owner or restaurateur, realtor is the second most competitive and saturated profession in Central Virginia.
Yeah. So there's 420 agents that have done 3 transactions or more out of 1,400 up until this point.
So 420 agents is a third, roughly?
Yeah.
Roughly a third of agents have a profession here.
See, agents is a bit of a skewed because it's showing 1,400, right? But it does include people like our good friend Woody, right? He doesn't sell, but he has access to it. He's part of the board and all that kind of
Fincham Associates, Woody Fincham.
So you would, unfortunately, they don't carve that out in the stats.
Which they should.
But they don't. So it's very difficult to go ahead and parse that out. You'd have to go through all 1,400 and pull it out. My point I'm trying to make is by this time of the year, if you're not at least at 3, it's going to be really hard to turn this into a living, right? If this is your full-on profession. But to answer your question a little differently, I actually think this is a perfect time to become a real estate agent. Versus the unicorn. I know you laugh, but
you say this for the same reason I said, with the benefit of hindsight. I've been self-employed for 18 years. 18 years ago,
you would never be able
nearly
to
18 years ago, I launched a business during a recession out of a condo that is now a rental property.
Yeah.
And my parents, my girlfriend at the time, and 2 of my best friends, I walk into the condo, and they are literally trying to have a what's it called when you have a conversation when you surprise people and you try to talk them out of something? You oftentimes see it with folks that are drinking or doing drugs or something like that, an intervention. So I go into my condo at the time, I walk in and, oh my God, my girlfriend's there at the time, my parents, 2 other people, and they're having literally an intervention for me to talk me out of quitting my job in media and launching a digital advertising agency. And I said, if I'm like you, these people do this and say, don't do this. If anything, I'm going to do the exact opposite.
Yeah, the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, is to tell somebody like us to not to do something.
Don't do this.
Yeah, so I did it.
No, worse than that. You can't do it.
Yeah, and that's what it was. You can't do it. It was terrible. 6 months, no revenue. Burned through all savings, had to welcome friends in to rent rooms in my condo to pay the mortgage.
Well, you clearly got rid of the girlfriend, but
not with her anymore. The friend's still close. My parents say, you know what, we were wrong.
There you go.
Now, 18 years later, we own 24 rental properties,
and
have a boatload of deal brokerage happening.
They're doing that because
multiple businesses.
I get it. They were doing that because they love you, right? But they really love you because they later on in life would say, you know what, we were wrong.
Yeah, and they do say that now.
That takes a lot.
They do say now we were wrong.
That takes a lot of guts.
But I had 6 months of no revenue. 6 months of no revenue doing it in the time of great unpleasantness. Yeah, well, did not have a client or customer for 6 months.
We had years of no revenue. Yeah.
And that's what these folks are going into, a market kind of like this.
I understand that, but
I was able to do it because I was in my mid-20s.
I get it.
Single.
I get it.
I was going to a Chinese restaurant at the time during the 6 months of no revenue to the lunch buffet with Ziploc bags, and when they weren't looking, was scraping food into Ziploc bags for food for the next day.
You know what that builds?
Food for my dog. Chinese food. True story.
I believe you, but what does that build?
I mean, it built survival skills. It built tenaciousness. It built 85 hours of work a week.
So it's interesting. A lot of, you know that a real estate agent is going to be successful when they have the following mindset. Look, some of them could be I don't want to generalize it. But most real estate agents don't realize, first and foremost, they're business owners. first and foremost, you're a business owner.
100%.
You're not a salesperson, right? You're not a decorator. You're not whatever you are. You are a business owner, and you need to look at what you do as a business. And a lot of folks either can't or unwilling to do that. And, small business owners are all about risk management, right? I was invited, I turned it down to speak in Vegas next week. So the guy that invited me goes, what, you don't like to gamble? I said, you'd have to talk to my wife, because I think losing $17 million was
Being an entrepreneur is gambling.
Yeah. I don't, at least I gambled on myself. I'm not going to gamble on
on a slot machine.
The slot
Yeah,
machine.
I would say, I'll go ahead and say this again, and I understand how your positioning of this.
But
This
if
is
you,
as tough a market as
so here's the thing. If
since the Great Recession, since the real estate recession.
I got it. But if you, the agents that came in the time of great unpleasantness, that figured out how to make it and work
Are extremely successful right
are
now.
freaking,
Rock stars.
because they know what it takes to do it.
And they remember what it takes to do.
People that came in the unicorn years
Are hemorrhaging right now.
because they don't know what to do. They're
Right.
running around in circles, right? Now, they have great people like Michael Guthrie and Yonna and some other folks that are helping manage them, and not manage them, but coach them through this. Okay, it's time to change. They have to want to do it, right? But I can tell you right now, if you want to get in the real estate space right now, right, and willing to put in the time, willing to do that, and here's what most people won't tell you, right? In your bank account, in your wallet, if you don't have 1 year of carrying cost, don't do it.
Well, and what a lot of people don't tell you, if you want to get into real estate right now, not only do you need 1 year of carrying costs, but I would also suggest that you have an income stream. A part-time job, some kind of job where you're potentially able to work on the side and earn income while developing your real estate career.
Here's the downside to that.
Is you're not 100% in.
Yeah. So we call them dual careers, and that's 100%, and they are very successful agents that do it because they understand you work an 80-hour week, not a 40-hour week, right? It's just like the conversation we're going to have with the two elected officials, the folks that are running Fred and Scott, right? Because I'm going to say this. You understand you're about ready to walk into another 40-hour-a-week job, right? So are you and your family prepared to do that, so forth and so on. So it is not a 40-hour-a-week job. It's not a 50-hour-a-week job. It's a 60-hour-a-week job. And over time...
60 hours a week over there, Judah. Did you hear that?
Over time, when you start building systems and you start getting revenue coming in and you can hire assistants, but that's a long runway to get there. But I got to tell you right now, when I have conversations, I had a conversation with an 18-year-old. I was at the bike shop. I was getting my bike tuned up for a ride I'm doing tomorrow. And I'm going to call him a kid because at 18 he is. He goes, look, I need to talk to you about getting in the real estate space. I said, cool. So let me tell you how this is going to work. Blah, 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 blah. If you want to be successful at it, you need to have enough capital to survive, because it's going to be a long time before you start seeing money going in the positive direction on it. And the second thing that I always say is, if you can afford to do it and if you can get somebody to help you do it, you know what? Shadow somebody, team up with somebody. I'll do the grunt work for you. If somebody that you admire, that you want to build your business like, and if usually the people that are successful in doing that, if Jerry walks up and says, hey, can you show me how, we'd love to do it.
Yeah, mentor.
Mentor, good choice of words. Time we got, 11:20.
Phenomenal show, right?
It was
I know, from day one. This is a jolt, the fuzzy.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm only got about a quarter away from
I'm
it.
on cloud 9 right now.
I'm
on
shaking.
top of the mountain. Are you not?
Judah,
Is it not? Did you finish yours?
No, I did not finish it.
I mean,
I'll put enough room in it that I can put a little rum in it.
This is fantastic. This is absolutely fantastic.
So, hey, Michael, thank you for the fuzzy coffee. Everybody, please set your bat watches and your bat stations and
Seriously,
all
this
that
is
kind of
this
stuff.
is this is fantastic. I sincerely, mine's empty.
Next,
I love it.
I'm
Fuzzy
sipping
is good.
Next Friday, Fred Missel, Scott Smith, no relation, by the way. Who knows? Maybe we might have to do a 23andMe at the table to see.
Smith's a pretty common name there.
We might be related. You never know.
Pretty common name.
Smiths kind of get around a little bit. So, but I'm looking forward to it because this is going to be a great thing. This is kind of the premier Not that other races don't matter, but this is the premier contested race. You know, Albemarle County is the largest jurisdiction as we take a look at the data there.
Drives the market.
It drives the market in concert with Charlottesville together. But as far as the housing market goes, for the most part, Albemarle County is the heartbeat of
Central Virginia.
Central Virginia. But what are you doing this weekend?
Doing this weekend, I'm going to play some padel.
Whoa, what's that?
Padel is so there's 3 padel courts that were built at the Boar's Head, thanks to a generous donation. And it's tennis meets squash. It's played outside.
Oh, interesting.
Played in a glass court on a smaller tennis court, very much like tennis, but there's glass walls around where you can use the
No
walls.
ceiling, just the side.
No ceiling, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's so much fun. Probably play
Cool.
some squash, swim at the swimming pool.
Good.
Take the boys, our oldest, maybe on the rock climbing wall, and go
How's
out
he
to
doing
dinner.
with that?
Oh, he's fantastic.
I'd
he's,
imagine.
He's just like a billy goat, like
Yeah,
a mountain lion.
And he loves the rappelling
And
down.
oh my God, he loves it. He loves it.
I should go climb with him one day.
We are, not that we're counting down here, 18 days away from the start of school. Not that we're counting. My wife and I will probably do dinner with the kids somewhere, maybe at Selvage. We had a busy weekend.
Yeah, I had a conversation on the walk with somebody else that in our neighborhood that has little people going back to school, and I looked at Yonna and was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh, man. First day of school is one of parents' first favorite days.
And we go back early. Most jurisdictions. I think Flavan is like next week.
A lot of the jurisdictions are going back in a couple of weeks. So I think you're going to see a pop in the market.
So do yourself a favor, take a look at my Facebook page or whatever it is. You know, the data doesn't lie. If you price it right, assuming you got the right location, features, and condition, and you listen to your real estate professional that's helping you, you're going to sell it on time and for a little bit more over list.
Keith Smith, Judah Wickhauer, Jerry Miller, Real Talk with Keith Smith, archived online at realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. Click the Partners tab on realtalkwithkeithsmith.com, and you'll see the partners that Keith and Yonna have personally vetted to help you in this game we call real estate. realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. Ladies and gentlemen, next week on Real Talk, Fred Missel and Scott Smith, a question and answer of 2 Samuel Miller District candidates, Board of Supervisors, Albemarle County, that is going to drive the news cycle. The I Love CVille show, guys, is up at 12:30 p.m. Don't miss it. Take care, everyone.